everybody. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of Afternoon Drive Home and The Edge on IC Radio. We're your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182, on Charter Communications, as well as Abundance TV, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Again, thank you so much for watching. We definitely appreciate that. No, you could be doing anything else, but you are watching us right now. We're talking with a guest we've had on here before. Awesome guy. His name is Jack Armstrong, and he is with the music group, the Bibletones. Jack, hello. How are you doing today?
Don, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'll tell you what, I'm glad we got this thing worked out.
Hey, me too. You know about technology. It works when it wants to.
Yeah, you know what? A lot of folks will say, computers are going to take over the world. And my answer to that is, uh-uh. Somebody still has to type the stuff in there. It's
That's
not
right.
computer. So anyway, so what's going on in your world right now, Jack?
Hey, we're starting 2023. This is 66 years for the Bibletones Quartet to hit the roads and start a new year singing and traveling, telling the greatest story that's ever been told. And we're excited about this new year, Donna. We've already got some great dates on the books already, and we're starting off the new year with a new member, and it's going to be a good year.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Now, you guys are really good. And I wanted to mention this also to our listeners, and you all know this. We are driven by you. You're the boss of us. You tell us what to play. And so download the app. And if you would love to hear more from Jack's group, all you have to do is type in the name and choose a song. And you've been in the top 50 quite a few times, Jack.
Hey, thanks to your listeners for requesting our music. That's why we sing. We present the gospel of Christ in song, and we want to get the message out there. So thanks for your listeners for requesting our music. We put a lot of work into this. By the time you go in the studio and choose songs, lay tracks, vocals, mix, master, you take a picture, and it's just a lot of work goes into it. And when we do something, we want to do it the right way and give it 110% because the message is what it's all about.
That is so very true. Your music is just blessing a lot of folks. So let's talk about that for a few minutes because, we've kind of had a weird world, elections and all that kind of stuff going on, weird food shortages and all those things that are happening right now. What is the light out there? There is a light.
Oh, that's easy. The light is Jesus Christ, who we sing about every time we hit the stage. Um, and I've said this a lot because, as you mentioned, over the last 2 years, you and I have seen things that we didn't think we'd ever see before. But none of it caught Jesus by surprise. He knew it all. He knows it all. And he paid the ultimate price 2,000 years ago. If you trust in him, everything's going to be fine.
I think so too. And, a lot of folks will say, well, I think I'm not going to give as much to the church right now. I got to watch my finances. But I'm going to have to tell you, anytime I've ever done that, it, it was the wrong thing to do. Let's talk with folks
It's
about giving.
totally opposite.
Uh huh. It most certainly is. It's a supernatural thing. And so it just works. I'll tell you, I was going through a divorce years and years and years ago. And so had a little son, about 6 years old. And so I thought, well, I'm not going to give this week. Money's tight and, wasn't receiving child support and all that stuff. And so that week, the motor went out on the car. Very first thing I thought of, I didn't tithe last week. I mean, it was my
Right.
first thought. Anything like that ever happened to
Absolutely.
you?
Of course. I was just sitting here thinking about Saturday night. Bond and I went to see a Southern Gospel group 45 minutes from the house. I won't name any names, but uh, we had a good visit. And when it came to pass the offering plate around, um, I put in because I know what they do. I know what it takes. And, after the service and load in, um, he and I were talking, and he gave me a valuable piece of advice that's going to help me in my ministry in fuel cost. Now, it goes back to what you just said. If I'd have sat at home and not went and supported my friends when we were off, I would have not known that. And I've already made a phone call already today to get everything set up. I don't have to tell you, when you're on a bus and you go by these truck stops and you look up there, everything in green costs more than gasoline. And we all have to go on that green figure. And it's right now $4. I have paid as much as $5.79 a gallon. And when you've got a 350 Cummins diesel engine and a 7,500 watt Onan generator pulling out of the same tank at 8 light poles a gallon, it runs into a lot of money. And that story just come to mind when you said that, because it happened to me just this weekend.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Let's talk about Christians sticking together. It sometimes looks like the enemy, they stick together pretty good. And so let's talk about how we can all stick together a little bit more. I'm just telling you, power's in numbers as well.
It is. The Bible says where 2 or 3 are gathered, I will be with you also. So when you have the time to be there, to support each other in your church, in extra church activities versus your Sunday morning, Sunday evening, be there. Go out and support each other. Be there for them when they're down. Be that person they can pick up the phone and call, to be uplifted, to be there for them, just like you'd want somebody there for you when you're in that situation.
We see people who serve, and that's across the board. It's on anything. But at church, I think growing up as a kid, probably the most memorable person was the person who just kind of greeted people when they were coming in. I tend to remember that more than anything, and it's an important part. So everything you do is a service.
Right. It's a lot of times, especially for a visitor, that's going to be the first impression of that church when that person that greets you at the door. Or, I have been in churches and it may be raining, and there's a ministry there that I've seen people go out with an umbrella and walk people in from their cars,
That's
just
huge.
going the extra mile. It never hurts to be kind.
That's true, especially when you got long hair like Vonda and me. I mean, an umbrella is that means a lot. That means a lot. So let's dig just a little bit deeper. And I know you've probably run into this. Most every church I was just a friendly church, but I remember when we moved to Charlotte, North Carolina. Phil got a job promotion, took us to Charlotte. We moved from Alabama, lived there for about 9 years. But we were looking for churches. First thing we did. And so we went to a church, and it was kind of quiet. No one looked at us, and I was wondering if we were invisible coming in. We were looking for a church to go and serve. And I looked at Phil and I said, "Are we invisible?" And he said, "I was about to ask you."
Or did I bathe this morning? I mean,
Did I use right guard on the left side?
exactly.
What in the world is going on? Nobody's speaking. We stayed because we didn't want to be rude or anything. So we stayed, but we never went back. So how important is it for a church body to speak to people when they come in?
You have one time to make a first impression.
That's it in a nutshell.
Exactly.
I just gave you a really good example. Then the next church we went to, it was like they wouldn't let us leave. And that's the one we went to. And it's just so big. It really is. But sometimes it seems like they don't want anybody else, you know. And but we're all in it together. And I'll have to
Exactly.
tell you this: the biggest help that you can get in times like these is getting in with a really, really good church group.
Oh yeah, and stay grounded in there. I couldn't help but think when you were talking about that a second ago, and you may play this song on your show. If not, you ought to look it up. My friend Tim Lovelace, and there's only one Tim Lovelace. God did that for a reason. There's only one Tim Lovelace, but you need to go listen to his song that he wrote and sung just so beautifully. Don't sit in my pew. And it will it will be a blessing to you, I promise.
Well, my dad was a minister, and believe me, we went to a lot of churches growing up. And I remember when we would go to a new church, I would make sure before I sat on the bench, I just learned this from an early age, find out if it's somebody's bench. I mean,
Yeah,
find out. And if it had somebody's nameplate on it, I would stay away from that one.
name plate, a blanket, turn and run.
That's true. We're just picking right now. So many great churches
Absolutely,
out there, absolutely, who welcome folks in with open arms. And
absolutely.
it's really good. In your opinion, you go to a lot of churches and you don't see a lot of young people there. We go to the cowboy church, and I'm gonna tell you,
Hmm.
kids are all over the place there. I mean, they're everywhere. But what do you think churches need to do? I mean, because that's your future, young
It
kids.
is. It is, and we've worked some here lately that the young people were active. Um, we were again, not the story I mentioned earlier for Saturday, but Sunday night. The Dixie Echoes were not too far from me, and at a church with another. Actually, another DJ friend goes there, and he invited me, so I was there. And afterwards, they had a fellowship meal, and these three young ladies, I'm gonna say they were 15 years old range, and they walked up to Scoot Shellnut while we were sitting there eating and said, "You're cool."
Oh wow, that's the
And
ultimate.
I know it. He didn't know how to act, and I just looked at him. I said, "That wasn't the word I was coming up with, but it worked for them, and it worked for you." And he was grinning like a mule eating briars when they told him that.
And I'm gonna tell you, the word meanings change now.
Oh yeah,
Like you never know if it's a compliment or not. So when a kid tells me I'm cool or something, I'm like, does it mean what it used to mean in the '60s and the '70s? I mean, just making sure
yeah. Has it changed?
that things do change. But there are so many core things that don't change. I mean, God doesn't change.
Not a bit.
Mhm. It's so
He's the
many core.
same today, yesterday, and forever.
Let's talk a little. We're going to go into a commercial break in just about
Okay.
3 minutes. So you have a lot of songs that we air here at this station, IC Radio.
Hmm.
Look them up on the internet, icradio.media. Download the app, it's free. And you can get this guy, get some of his songs. Now, you can only do one an hour, okay? And by the way, you'll get a kick out of this. One of our listeners got in contact with me one day and she said, "Well, hon, there are people that I would like to request, but I don't want to put any more on y'all than you already do." And I said, "No, really. You're actually saving us from work because once you put that in there, it goes right into the bin. That depends on how many people are ahead of you. It could be an hour before it's played, but you're really helping us out when you do that. So
That's right.
never about that.
Request the songs.
So now your songs we play a lot here, and we still need more. So you know where to send it. Send it to Phil.
You got it. We just sent one out last week.
Awesome. So let's talk about some of your new songs that are out there.
Sure. Um, let's talk about the new one, the one we just sent last week. It's entitled "We Miss Home." Um, Back before COVID, I was approached by the first group that I ever sang with when I was in high school. It was a mixed trio, and they wanted to get together and do a reunion concert or two. And I was able to go to one practice because of our travel schedule, gone a lot, but I did make it to one. And that morning, the band played this song, and I had forgotten about it. It's been it's been a day or two since I've been in high school, Don. I know I don't look it, but it's been a few days. So
There's
I had
only a
I
few
had
days
forgot.
with me too.
Yeah, I mean I had forgotten about this one, and I said to myself, I said, "Man, I always loved that song." So when we broke for lunch, I sat down beside the writer of the song. He was our lead guitar player. His name's Robert Varner, and I told him, I said, "Man, the next time we go in the studio, I'm gonna cut that song." He said, "No, you're not." I said, "You watch me." I said, I just forgotten about it, slipped through the cracks, but I'm gonna do it." And we put it on this project. And Ashley Franks that you play on there, Josh and
Mhm.
Ashley. It is Ashley's favorite song on the project. Your fellow DJ, Miss Lottie Squires from up in North Carolina, she sent us word when she got our complete project, and she called Vonda and said, Mrs. Bibletone, you tell your husband that if he don't send that song to radio, he'll have to deal with me. So I wanted to keep Miss Lottie happy, and I'm up a man of my word, and we sent it to radio last week.
Awesome. Awesome. So talk to us about the song. What's the meaning?
You know, it's entitled "We Miss Home," and it paints a picture. You know, we walk by faith and not by sight. We talk about we miss it even though we've never been there. And Robert described it like it's described in the Bible, and I believe everything in that Bible from Genesis to the maps, and I believe I'm going to be there one day. I have that promise, and that's what we hold on to, that promise. And he just says, hey, we miss it even though we hadn't been there, and it's hard to fathom sometimes missing somewhere you've never been, but we do miss home. We long for home, and the longer that we're down here, the more we have over there this promise for them. And that was his take on the song, and we're very pleased how it turned out.
Absolutely. Let's cut into a commercial break. We're going to be back in
Okay.
just about 3 minutes. So y'all hang in there. Okay, we'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and my employees and I want to thank each and every one of you for your continued support. With everything going on right now, your rest is so important. That's why we're having the biggest My Pillow sale ever. Not only are my bed pillows as low as $19.98, but you can get the best body pillows ever. Regular $89.98, now only $29.98. Take your rest on the go with our Roll and Go Anywhere My Pillows for only $14.98. And we have our new couch and accent pillows. They aren't just for looks. They have My Pillow's patented adjustable fill that gives you that amazing My Pillow comfort. In this economy, you get the best gifts ever for the best prices ever. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code and you get deep discounts on body, couch, bolster pillows, and so much more, including my original bed pillows for as low as $19.98. Please order now while quantities last.
At Ramon's Mexican Restaurant, located in Vinegar, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Ramon's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Ramon's Mexican Restaurant. The only place I buy my beef is Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama. Their cattle is born and raised on their ranch, grass and grain-fed, and you can feel confident when you serve your family and friends because their beef is all natural and no antibiotics or hormones are added. You can buy whole beef or perhaps go in with family or friends and buy half. Their customer service is number one as they take care of the delivery to their local processor and can deliver to your home for a small added fee. They also offer herd replacement heifers. I always call Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama for my beef specialty recipes and cookouts, and you can too. Food shortages are increasing, so buy local by calling 256-523-6462. That's 256-523-6462. Patterson's Music and Jewelry is a full-line music store offering guitar repair, setup and sound installation equipment, as well as instrument rentals and new and used guitars and amps. We offer jewelry at affordable prices and jewelry repair, watch batteries and link removal, and we offer personalized jewelry such as fingerprint, mother's rings, and pendants. Shop in historic downtown Fort Payne on Galt Avenue. Hours are 9 to 5 Monday through Friday and 9 to 2 on Saturday. Call 256-845-4115. It's 256-845-4115. And thank you for trusting Patterson's Music and Jewelry.
We're back. Good afternoon. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of Afternoon Drive Home on IC Radio. In Christ Radio, we're your source for news and entertainment. And also find us on television, channel 182, right here in North Alabama, Charter Communications. You can also find us on Abundance TV, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. It's always good to be with you. I know you could be doing anything else, but you're watching us right now. We definitely appreciate that. I have Jack Armstrong with me right now, and Jack is a singer. Are you a songwriter as well, Jack?
Donna, I'm just going to be honest with you. I do good to write my name.
Well, same
I wish
here.
I could. That's a talent that I really, really respect. And, a lot of friends that are, and I'm always interested in the song, where it came from, what gave them the inspiration and the idea. It's a great talent. Unfortunately, I just don't have it.
Yeah, I think it's pretty awesome. Let's talk about the other members of the group.
Sure. As I said earlier in the interview, when we starting this year, we're starting off with a new member. And it's a little bittersweet for me. We're replacing our longtime bass singer, Glenn Floyd. Now, Glenn has been with the group probably over 20 of the 66 years on the bass position. And Danny and myself, we're on our second tour duty with the group, and Glenn and I traveled together in the 80s. And now from 2015, we came back and up until 2022. And I told somebody yesterday that when we go back out on the road after this holiday season, will be the first time I've ever walked on the stage with the Bibletones without standing next to Glenn. And I can't thank him enough for his service to us and to his Lord. He loves the music, and bass singer just all over the country love Glenn. A lot of them are coming up listening to him as younger bass singers. They respect him and love him, and we'll miss him. But we're moving forward, and we hired a young man named Charlie Lucas from Ruleville, Mississippi, up in the Mississippi Delta. Charlie's been doing some solo stuff, and he wants to sing with a quartet. And he's, over the last 2 or 3 months while we were off the road, he has really practiced hard, learned our material, and is raring to go. And we're looking forward to starting 2023 with Charlie on the bass mic. And then our tenor singers, Danny Jackson. Danny's been around with us for a long time. Like I said earlier, his 2 tours of duty with the Bibletones, and also with my buddy Jeff Steele. Danny used to sing with the Steeles back when he had We Want America Back and all those great songs through that era. That was Danny singing right there, the tenor part with Jeff. And our lead singer is Jamie May. Jamie's from McGee, Mississippi. He's been with us now for going on like 5 years. And Jamie is we were the first quartet he's ever sung with, and he has worked hard. He has soaked everything up like a sponge. And mentioned songwriting earlier. For this project, he had never written a song before, but he wrote us one for this one, and we liked it and recorded it. And it's on our latest album, and it's entitled "God Is So Good." So we're proud of Jamie, and like I said, just a little itching, ready to get back on the road after this long holiday break.
Oh yeah, you think you're ready for a break, then the break happens. You're going, okay, I'm ready to go back again.
Oh, we're ready.
Absolutely. Let's talk to some young folks right now. We kind of brought that up just a few minutes ago. And first of all, don't listen to the news media. The kids aren't what the news media says they are, okay? Because I'm seeing a lot of interest. I really am. Kids are wanting to start groups and get out there and sing. And they could go anywhere else. They could go country or western
look at the inspirations. Some of my socks are older than some of them boys, but I love them to death, and they love our music. And and the thing about him, you talk about Luke and you talk about Isaac and Wyatt, especially those three. They are well versed in the history of Southern gospel. I had them back at my homecoming last year in June in Gulfport, Mississippi, and Tommy Atwood was a former tenor for the Bibletones. And Tommy, if you flipped on your television set back in the 60s and tuned into the gospel singing Jubilee, you could see him singing tenor with the Florida Boys. And they were lighting my phone up 3 months early. He said, "Is Tommy going to be there? Will I get to meet Tommy?" I said, "Tommy Atwood and Billy Todd and Les Beasley and Glenn Allred was my favorite lineup of the Florida Boys. They have all their albums. They listen to it going down the road singing, and they could not wait to meet Tommy Atwood." So I arranged it and made sure Tommy was there that afternoon. Donna, we were setting up equipment, getting ready for the concert, got around the piano with Luke, and we all sang together. And those young men they've told me 100 times since, they'll never forget that. And they're those young men. I can't tell you, if you have a chance to go see the Inspirations, go. You will not regret it.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the money part of it. I mean, you've got to
Okay.
make enough expenses and all that kind of stuff. But what would you say to a young group who said, "I'm in it to make a lot of money"? What would you say to that group?
Go home.
You're gonna say, forget it. You got to be established, right? And it has to be more than that. And I've heard a lot of groups, they sound really good. I mean, they really do, but it feels like there's something missing. Like you guys have
Right.
the passion, with your singing, and it's easy to pick up on the passion.
Yeah. You definitely got to have it. It's a calling, and you've got to have that. And then you've got to be responsible. You've got to know what you can do, what you need to do, and what it takes. In fact, I had a man reach out to me this last week, and he sings in a group right now, and he's thinking about purchasing the group. There's really nothing in writing or nothing to do, and trying to do some things, and he just asked me questions for 30 and 45 minutes, and I was glad to answer him, because I have been there and done a lot of that stuff, and told him what it actually cost for the things he was asking. And I wanted him to know ahead of time what he would be facing before he jumped in, and give him my 2 cents worth, and was glad to do that, as I would anybody. Even if somebody I don't know call me and ask me, I would be glad to give what things I've had to learn on the way, and share, and wish everybody the best.
Well, talent is extremely important. I mean, it really is. But would you put talent up against just plain old, "I love what I do"? I mean, how would you compare
You
the
know,
two?
you've heard that saying, Donna. If you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life. If that makes sense. So we don't really call it a job. It is a calling, but it helps when you have and God will bless your efforts, no matter where it is, or whatever stage, whatever church. If you're in it for the right reasons, you put yourself out there, and you plant a seed, and you may not see it develop right then, but He will reward your efforts.
Absolutely. Jack, we have a minute left in this segment. I'm
Okay.
really enjoying having you on the show today. What would you
I
like to tell
appreciate
the
you
folks?
letting me stop by.
Oh, absolutely. Anytime. What would you like to tell the folks before you go?
Well, I would love for you to come see the Bibletones some this year. I'll mention real quick a few dates we got coming up in your area. Southern Gospel Weekend will be here in March at the Oxford Civic Center. Master's Voice, New Ground, the Perrys, the Guardians, the Bibletones, a whole bunch of groups for 3 days there mid-March. Go to southerngospel.info.com. We'll be there in March. Southeastern Gospel Fest in Laurel, Mississippi, 3 days of your favorite groups will be there. Memphis Quartet Show will be with us in June. The Bibletones Homecoming with Brian Free and Assurance and Bibletones and Greg Sullivan in June. And then before you know it, we'll be at Silver Dollar City in September, and then of course the National Quartet Convention. We're singing on Tuesday night. It's going to be a great NQC in Pigeon Forge. But for all